In 1986, a young, beautiful, and successful business lady from Switzerland went to Kenya for a vacation. She met a Maasai Samburu warrior and fell in love. Her world as she knew changed forever. The Swiss beauty left all the wealth in her home country and decided to settle with her new lover in a small hut in the African jungle. A place where women were less valued than goats. However, their relationship did not have a happy ending. What really happened? How does their daughter look like now? Continue watching to find out more. Meet Corinne Hofmann. She was an ordinary European girl living in a beautiful part of Switzerland. Born to a German father and a French mother, she represented the blending of different cultures in how she was raised. Corinne grew up in the beautiful surroundings of Switzerland and lived a life of comfort and convenience. Life was all good and the future looked bright. At the age of 21, she decided to start a business and opened her own wedding clothing store in Biel, Switzerland. With her personality and business acumen, she climbed the ladder and became an influential figure in the local business community. In addition to her impressive business skills, Corinne won the hearts of many with her stunning good looks, charming petite figure and shiny hair. Drawn by her beauty, admirers flocked to her. Among them was Marco. Although 2 years younger than her, she loved him very much. He was from her social circle. However, they ended up dating for only 5 years. Corinne and Marco danced through the struggles of love. They prospered while living very rich lives. There was no doubt that marriage seemed impossible because Marco was wealthy, but Corinne wanted something deeper. The lure of travel appealed to her restless spirit, and in the fall of 1986, Corinne and Marco traveled to Kenya, a decision that would change their lives forever. She was 28 years old at the time, and Marco was 26. Following their arrival in Kenya, the young couple was so excited about the local culture. Each day brought new discoveries and adventures, creating memories that would forever be engraved in their hearts. On their second day, while watching the sun setting as they continued to explore the East African country on the Likoni ferry in Mombasa, she saw a group of Maasai men. Among them was Lketinga, who had a towering height and appeared to be the strongest and most handsome of all. Although their worlds were different, Corinne found herself drawn to Lketinga in a way she could not explain. It was love at first sight. When the ferry docked, he was swept away in the crowds. Thinking she would never see him again, she wanted to cry. Tired and weary, Corinne and her boyfriend missed their bus. Then a voice behind them said, "Hello, can I help you?" It was her, Maasai, Lketinga Lepamorio. He took them back to their hotel. As they looked at each other quickly, Corinne felt a connection that went beyond cultural and traditional boundaries. 2 days later, they saw him again at local night spot, the Bush Baby Disco. He joined them at the table, and they tried to talk. Marco didn't want to dance, so she took to the floor with Lketinga. That night she couldn't sleep. In the days that followed, Corinne found herself consumed by thoughts of Lketinga. She could not eat or sleep. Her whole life had been turned upside down. She decided to express her feelings for him. He felt pleased. Driven by an insatiable desire to follow her heart, Corinne made the bold decision to confront her own reality head-on. His very basic English forced them to communicate through signs and gestures. But strange and alien as he was, he attracted Corinne like a magnet. Corinne visited his small hut in the bush on the second day of knowing each other. Breaking up with Marco, Corinne and her fiancé Marco had enjoyed great fun together, but she realized that her feelings for him had evaporated, along with all thoughts of her life back home. She broke up with her boyfriend and bid farewell to her former life. She embarked on a journey to find Lketinga and embrace the unknown. She wanted to stay in the mesmerizing country with her Maasai. Of course, her boyfriend tried to talk her out of it. He thought that she was out of her mind. The love-struck lady went back home in Biel, Switzerland, and sold everything. Her apartment, business, and her Alfa Romeo Spider, bought a one-way ticket and returned to Kenya without knowing what would happen next. She bought her favorite wedding dress, and flew back to Kenya, joining her Maasai in the bush. In July 1987, after 6 months, she returned to Mombasa with her brother, Eric, and his partner. Lketinga was happily waiting for her. But Eric was visibly shocked at the sight of him. She realized that her obsession with Lketinga was hers and hers alone. Filled with emotions, Corinne stood before Lketinga and poured her heart out, declaring her love. Although initially hesitant, Lketinga found himself attracted by Corinne's sincerity, and they ended up spending the night together. Corinne was able to win the hearts of Lketinga's family and convinced him to marry her. In the middle of the rolling plains of Samburu, the two celebrated their union in a solemn ceremony, celebrating the traditions and customs of the Samburu people. Marriage life with Lketinga. She married her Maasai in a traditional ceremony, wearing a white bridal dress, and avoided premarital circumcision only because Lketinga lied to the community that she had been cut as a baby. After their wedding, Corinne left her happy life and moved to Lketinga's hut in the jungle. Lketinga lived in a small traditional hut made with cow poop and lacked modern amenities, like running water, electricity, a toilet, and their bed would be on the floor. Sometimes they went without food for 2 days. With time, Corinne grew accustomed to the strange local life and participated in domestic chores, such as fetching water and firewood like the Samburu women. After the wedding, they opened a local shop selling basic supplies and food, which we brought by Land Rover from Marilal. She did not want anyone to go without food again. Having moved to a totally new environment, she faced challenges and suffered from diseases such as malaria, but she persevered for the sake of her marriage. She fell pregnant soon after the wedding, but I kept getting ill. She had malaria 3 times during the pregnancy. Afraid for the health concerns, she decided to return to Switzerland. She returned to Africa to give birth their daughter Napirai, Lketinga's most special gift to Corinne. But when she returned, finances there was no money. Her husband had given everything away. In 1990, they moved back to Mombasa, where they had first met, and set up a tourist shop. As time went by, their family fell into trouble because of cultural differences. Their disagreements escalated when Corinne opened a shop in the village, as Lketinga believed he should be the head of the household. Lketinga started drinking heavily, stealing money from the till. It was horrible to see how much he had changed. At some point, Lketinga started becoming jealous, especially when Corinne interacted with other men within the village that they lived. Ending the marriage and moving back to Switzerland, Corinne and Lketinga's relationship takes a twist. Despite their many challenges, Corinne and Lketinga had lived together for 4 years. During this time, they gave birth to a daughter, symbolizing their love and commitment to each other. However, as time passed, Corinne found herself struggling with the harsh realities of life within the Samburu tribe. She was shocked when she learned that female circumcision was a common practice, and she strongly condemned the cruel practice. In her opinion, such cruelty has no place in a civilized society, and she refused to abuse her daughter. Additionally, she heard that according to tribal customs, she was forced to give her daughter as a servant to her husband's mother. Furthermore, following the communal traditions of Lketinga, he could marry many wives and have many children, a prospect that Corinne could not achieve. Corinne became lonely and exhausted due to Lketinga's jealousy and constant suspicion of her cheating with other Samburu warriors. Corinne made a difficult decision to leave her marriage and return to Switzerland with her daughter, Napirai, to find solace in her past life. At home, she found small things wonderful, like salad and vegetables, but it took a while for her to regain her weight and personality. Then, one summer evening, 5 years after she had left Kenya, she started to write. She wrote for 8 months. She was crying uncontrollably, but it was healthy. It was therapy. Afterwards, it felt like a great weight had been lifted off her shoulders. The old Corinne was back. She had gained so much strength from the experience, knowing that if she survived in the bush, she can survive anywhere. Autobiography, the White Masai book. After their successful return to Switzerland, in 1998, Corinne embarked on a new chapter of her life by writing her autobiography, the White Masai. In this candid memoir, she recounts her remarkable journey and experiences of living amongst the Samburu tribe. Since its publication, the book was welcomed by readers all over the world and has achieved great success, with more than 4 million copies sold and been translated into more than 30 languages. Encouraged by the success of her first book, Corinne went on to write other books that in turn made her popular and wealthy. Today, though age is catching up with her, Corinne's legacy continues, and her writing is a testament to the power of storytelling. Her daughter Napirai is now 35 years old. Mindful of the complexities of Lketinga's family's traditions and cultural practices, Corinne waited until Napirai reached adulthood before she allowed her to visit her father. Napirai reunion 2010 was a big year for Napirai. She was 21 years old by then. After Corinne wrote the White Masai novel, readers kept asking her when she was going to write about her daughter's first time in Kenya. It took years, the reading of letters exchanged with her father's family and her stories for Napirai to get over her shyness and fears and to prepare her for her first trip to Africa. The decisive factor was a very touching letter from James, her ex-husband's younger brother, who wanted to meet his niece in Barcelona. The experience Napirai had in the land of her birth was overwhelming. The first meeting with her father at Marilal was moving, and the subsequent trip to Barcelona allowed her to get closer to the real Africa. Her embrace with her grandmother was an indescribable moment of great emotion. Napirai also met her 4 stepsisters and 1 stepbrother from her father's second marriage, uncles and aunties and cousins. The ties to them in Kenya have become stronger and indissoluble. She can really say that Africa is her passion. Despite the challenges of their past, the reunion was met with joy and reconciliation. Over the years, Corinne remained committed to supporting her ex-husband and his family, providing financial assistance as a sign of care. Corinne finds love again. Recently, Corinne met and fell in love with a European man who shares her love for travel. Despite the adventures they share and what she has been through, Corinne holds to her past life when a Samburu warrior named Lketinga took control of her desires. Lketinga is an old man now, but he is still striking. He married 2 wives. Their love was a whirlwind, an unstoppable journey across cultural and traditional boundaries. Corinne made the bold choice to give up everything for the sake of love, while Lketinga bravely defied the customs of his tribe to marry a stranger. Yet, despite their hopes for happiness, the rift between their worlds proved hopeless. Corinne's independence clashed with Lketinga's traditional views on gender roles, created widening differences each day. Their love story ended on a dark note, a disturbing reminder of the vast inequality that separated them. Although their hearts are the same, the reality is too different. Though their hearts may have once beaten as one, the reality of their differences ultimately proved too great to overcome.